What internet marketing expert should you spend your valuable time listening to? Listen to someone who has over 20 years of web marketing experience and hundreds of website marketing success stories. That man is Aaron Sparks from Site Strategics. And this is Edge of the Web Radio.
There's a couple articles that caught my eye here on this particular theme. One's from actually SEO Hacker. Another one out there from where was it from? I think it was Web Marketing Today or something like that. All about negative reviews and how to handle that. But when a bad reputation pops up, you really don't know what to do. You don't know if one of your employees are going to do something stupid. You don't know if a product's going to fail, right? There's a lot of things that could happen just doing business. You leave a wake behind you. And ultimately, there's not an if, it's going to be a when.
Yeah.
When you have a disgruntled employee, when you have something happen out there, you're exposed, and you've got to be able to handle what comes after that.
Yeah,
right?
what comes to mind right now, Doug, is that video you shared out about the guy with the Jeep that had the bad Jeep, and he made a rap song about how terrible his Jeep is.
Yeah, fantastic.
I haven't seen how many reviews that had, but it was pretty funny.
Now, if you actually have customers that get so creative that they'll actually give you negative reviews in a musical, just embrace it. Just embrace it. Thank you very much. So the concept is reverse SEO. Now, first and foremost, what is SEO? SEO is search engine optimization, and it's the method of actually grooming a website in a number of different respects, both on your website as well as external of your website, because there's a lot of reputation factors that go to be able to improve a website. That's what Google pays attention to. That's SEO. So reverse SEO can be used actually to suppress negative publicity that targets your company in Google, Yahoo, and Bing, right? By pushing bad press onto the second and third and fourth pages of Google, those pages can be prevented by gaining traction or attention. So there are tactics of how you can respond. Okay. Now, these are not black hat tactics. These are not. You're not spinning things. You are using the web the way it's supposed to be. And if there's a site out there that's negatively affecting you, you need to be able to inventory and see what it is. I would not ever recommend, if there's a true and honest negative review of a business performance that you failed to do for a customer, that's real and it deserves addressing, okay, you absolutely should address it. Don't try these tactics just to tamp them down out of people's visibility, because here's the deal. People are more and more savvy. They're going to find this, and they're going to find what you've done to actually try to move this down the pipe, okay? If it's something that can actually be connected to and you can actually resolve something, this is how I highly advocate that course of action first and foremost. But there are tactics out there to actually kind of separate yourself from these different pages. Doug, you're with us. This is Doug Carr from Marketing Tech Blog. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. I don't have any bad reviews out there on my company either, though. So,
is that a challenge?
Yeah.
All right. Also, Google ranks pages based on several different criteria. One of the organic algorithm ranking parameters is the website's authority within its search terms. The more authority a site has, the easier it is for a page on that site to rank well and control its position. So this is the entire scope of reverse SEO. All right. So how can you put down something negative that's adversely affecting your business? Well, there's different ways and different approaches you can do in order to put a bad reputation in the search results down. So that you have the strategic method and the grinding method. We're going to talk about the strategic method first, all right?
Okay.
Because I like that. That's part of our company name. All right, first and foremost, tell Google. Seriously, tell Google about this. If something goes wrong, the first thing that you can do is check if there's anything against Google guidelines in the entry that's out there.
Okay.
All right, and then check this out. If there is, you can report them to the big daddy of search and have that entry de-indexed. Yes, you have that control and power if it fails it fails the Google guidelines. Did you know that, Doug?
I did not know that, and I'm curious how successful that is.
Well, let's go through some key points here, all right? These are key points of evidence that you can provide to Google, all right? Number one here, you can actually communicate to them that my confidential personal information is appearing in search results, including name, address, phone number, and medical records, all right? That's something that's more of a personal nature, right? A piece of content, and this is another example of what you can communicate to Google. A piece of content I'm concerned about has already been removed by the webmaster, but still appears among the search results. Now, you got to confirm that. So if you've reached out to the particular review-based organization, the site itself, and if you have been able to successfully pull that down, but it's still showing up in Google Index, right?
Yep.
Then you have that to be able to work through. Another point, I have found a site that is engaging in suspicious behavior. Use that with caution. But if there's a couple sites out there, and I won't rattle off their names, but they're pretty shady when it comes down to consumer reviews against a company. They give you no ability to have the consumer redact that. There's no place where you can even challenge what's going on there. Okay. And then there's a few more larger organizations, but some of these are they have rip-off or something like that in the title of the domain. It's completely bent towards the consumer, even more so, and consumers know that they can drag your brand through the muck on these websites. And that's the point, is that if there's no control, there's no ability for a company to challenge this, then there's a place of contention there, a place that you can make for your own argument against this. Another point, I would like incorrect and inaccurate information to be removed from search results. That's a key point that you can actually go to Google with. Okay, now you may actually have to bring some evidence of that incorrect information, but that's how you can communicate to Google. Another point, my full name or the name of my business appears on an adult content website that's spamming Google search results. Again,
you're not in the adult content business.
No. Heaven forbid, no.
That happened to one of our clients.
Yeah, it did. Absolutely. They got targeted. They got targeted by so much garbage, right?
Yeah.
And we were fending off this on a regular basis, disavowing, and it was like a tidal wave of negative content that just completely killed them. I mean, to the point that at a point in time, I mean, they must have really upset somebody.
I don't know.
But to the point where we actually had to cancel and delete the domain, shut it down, and actually rebuild the domain on its own authority, because they were in the crosshairs of some black hat SEO.
That is terrible.
Yeah, absolutely. Another point you can make to Google, a page appearing in Google search is violating my company's trademark rights. Okay? There's a place that you can go with that if they're actually using your company or using your branding statements or stuff like that, and then trying to trash your brand. That's an offense, and that's a copyright infringement. Another point that you can say, one or more pages of my site have been removed due to a legal complaint, and I would like to have them restored. There's a number of things that you can say to Google, but here's the deal. Overall, you should try to embrace this negativity and try to go after some sort of settlement if you can, reaching to a mutual agreement between the offended party and who owns a bad reputation, who owns that negative reputation, and the company itself can actually be one of the best and easiest ways to remove that. They're out there saying something because they've had a bad experience.
Sure.
Okay? And we're going to talk about this later on in the show here, of what you should be doing whenever you get a negative review. But here's the deal, is that the 3 easy steps that you should go after is contact the webmaster, ask for a meeting, be at your best, and negotiate a compromise between both parties. All right? These are real-world facts that should permeate into the digital reputation landscape. You should try these efforts first, because guess what? If you solve the offended party's problem, and a lot of times it's a customer service, they didn't respond to me in time, or I didn't get what I asked for, you can actually turn this into a positive very, very easily. But if you take your encampments, if you go into different corners and try to protect yourself too much, you're missing an opportunity to actually demonstrate how you work with problems with your consumers, right?
Yep.
Well, that's usually done sometimes with a monetary settlement, and since the company has incurred a personal and sometimes emotional damage to the consumer, there can be high demands sometimes from the offended party, and you got to take that in stride. You got to figure out whether or not you got to weigh it out to figure out whether or not this is as of much value as you think it is. Every second there are 3 billion searches that happen globally. So why take a risk? If you look at negative reviews, you can just look at so many positive, then one negative pops out. They're not treated evenly. Mm-hmm. People rubberneck on a negative review. So what's it worth to you to actually resolve this? And a lot of times, the company has done something incorrectly. I'm not making any assumptions to anybody who's listening to this, but we have seen negative reviews, and a lot of times they're legitimate, right?